New faces in new places, wide receivers, guys. We're diving in and giving you an overview for the NFC receivers that were traded or had free agent pickups. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Let's go!
All right. Welcome to the show. This is the Frankly Fantasy Football Podcast. We are your hosts, Frankie and Johnny. Frankie, we're diving in today, baby. We got new faces in new places. This is my favorite episodes of the year.
Fun.
The free agency is freaking bananas, man. Every year it gets worse and worse. And this year we have more episodes than ever. We had to do 2 wide receiver episodes because there are so many guys moving teams. And these are impactful fantasy players, guys. So let's go. Let's dig into it. Let's see which wide receivers in the NFC are brand new and how they affect these teams and what we can expect out of fantasy out of these guys. All right, Frankie, let's dive right in, baby. Let's get into our first guy. We're going with the NFC here, guys. We got 6 guys we're going to talk about. Number 1 right now, Davante Adams. This guy just seems to continue to linger around, man. Still has a lot of fantasy production, I think, left in him here, man. All right, Davante Adams signed with the Rams, previously on the Jets. 2-year, $46 million contract with $26 million guaranteed. Got paid, baby. Last year, Davante Adams, it was a weird year, I know. But he still finished as a wide receiver 14, which is pretty impressive, and it was a pretty tumultuous season for him. Frankie, why don't you dig in a little bit? Talk to us about Davante Adams last year on the Jets, and then let's look at him this year on the Rams and how we think he's going to do, and then how we think he's going to affect the rest of the players around him.
Love it, man. So, guys, when we look at what Davante Adams did when he was with the Jets, 141 targets. Let's just stop there for a sec. That's with Garrett Wilson, John.
Right.
I mean, guys, that is monumentally huge. And obviously we know that Aaron Rodgers was quarterback, things of that nature. But he also had 85 receptions, over 1,000 yards receiving, and 8 receiving touchdowns. Guys, Davante is still doing Davante things. And here's what was fascinating, man. When you look at his ADOT, so average depth of target, this is a really big number. For those new listening, for those that are newly tuning in, this is a metric Johnny and I love to hit on for receivers because you want to understand, are these dink and dunks? And so in a PPR kind of format in your leagues, are we trying to get like really quick catches, a lot of receptions, that kind of thing? Or are these guys going down the field and they're deep threats? And now you know you're going to get a bigger bang for your buck in those standard leagues, half PPR, so on and so forth. So with Davante Adams, guys, he had a 7.5 yard ADOT, average depth of target. Very good, especially for a guy that's also aging. So what's fascinating, John, you mentioned now he signed with the Rams. He goes from the Jets in a tumultuous season for what the Jets had to the Rams with Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams, right? Terrence Ferguson as a potential starting tight end as a rookie. John, there are weapons galore. And dare I say, this is probably one of the best situations Davante Adams has been in since his primetime days with Aaron Rodgers when he was in his prime at the Packers. So what does this mean? Where is he sitting? Right now, Davante Adams is listed at receiver 19, and his ADP is listed at 40. Guys, we're talking half PPR. We're giving you a little bit of the in-between from PPR to standard formats, right? So that means in a 12-man league right now, he's going to be a third-round pick. He's absolutely going to be a third-round pick. In a 10-man league, he's probably looking at back of third, early fourth, right? And so receiver 19, guys, I'm just saying, I think this is going to blow it out of the water. And I started alluding to it, man. The reason being is because he's coming in and replacing Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is no longer there. You have Puka Nacua, who they're not going to be able to double Davante Adams. Just like what we saw at the Jets, they weren't able to double him because of Garrett Wilson. And look at how well he still performed in a 2 tandem set. And dare I say, I'm going to do a little bit, maybe a hot take, maybe not. Matt Stafford is a better quarterback at this point in time than Aaron Rodgers is. It just is the reality of it. And yeah, kill me on it. Aaron Rodgers, I know he had over 3,000 yards, 3,800 yards passing, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, had a very good year. I'm on the Matt Stafford train, guys. He's a little bit younger. He's more ingrained in this particular offense with Sean McVay. And so for me, man, John, I'm absolutely targeting Davante Adams this year. I could see him replicating what he did, and you're getting a good boost, replicating what he did from last year, but you're getting a good boost on his ADP from what he would probably perform at compared to where he's actually listed at today.
I agree with you. I think he's a very safe pick, man. And only because we saw him in the position, in the situation he was in last year with the Jets. It made us nervous when they got signed with the Jets last year because we've really seen Davante really be the only guy. Yeah. I mean, he's carried the load through the air, so to speak, on every team he's been on. So now being able to see him with a rising star like Garrett Wilson. I mean, we're not talking about another aging guy. We're not talking about Tyler Lockett here. We're talking about Garrett Wilson.
A true rising star.
A true rising star who also is a true number one receiver as well. So being able to see him with an aging quarterback like Aaron Rodgers play with a Garrett Wilson really makes me feel good about him playing with an aging quarterback with Matt Stafford alongside a young rising star in Puka Nacua. So it's a very similar situation. But I agree with you. I think Matthew Stafford, if he's healthy, is a better quarterback at this stage than Aaron Rodgers. He's got a much bigger arm. I think you're going to see his ADOT go up this year as well because you've got Matt Stafford chucking the ball. That arm strength is still there. It's real. So I love it, man. I'm not afraid at all of Davante Adams. I think where you're getting him is really a value. You can get him as your wide receiver 2. If you go wide receiver heavy, you can get him as your 3rd. I mean, that is just fantastic, man. So I think Davante Adams is being slept on a little bit. As far as targets go, there's no other changes here. You've got Matt Stafford and Kyren Williams in the backfield. It's going to be Puka, Davante, and Tutu Atwell. There's nobody else that's really going to give anybody take away targets from him here. So I love it. I love Davante Adams. I really, really do.
And John, one call out is, too, guys, think about this. Puka Nacua has not had a purely healthy season in a few seasons now. So if Puka Nacua goes down, Davante Adams is the solo number 1, and his value skyrockets. So where he's being listed at receiver 19, again, I love what you called out. It's a huge value. Definitely target him, and you'll see some fruit from that tree.
I love it, man. All right, let's go on here. We're keeping in the NFC here. Next guy, this is really interesting, Frankie. George Pickens. Jorge Pickens. Traded to the Cowboys. Okay, this is interesting, man. I mean, last year, George Pickens was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, finished as wide receiver 42. Kind of a tumultuous year for George Pickens. A lot of flash of brilliance, but a couple flashes of sadness as well. So he's not exactly the most mentally stable guy in the world. No. And when Pittsburgh says goodbye to a receiver, I always get nervous, man. He's on, I've got the hotline ready to go just in case he's feeling a little, Yeah,
Antonio Brownish,
Deontay Johnson,
Martavius Bryant,
basically,
Juju,
pretty much every receiver. Yeah, the whatever's in the water bottles in the receiver room, it's not good for your brain, man. Whatever it is. But on that note, the guy's still young as shit and talented as hell, and he's going to a team has been looking for a number 2 receiver alongside CeeDee Lamb for many years. Many years. All right, so Frankie, talk to me. What are we looking at with George Pickens? I need to know. I like the guy. I think he's super talented. We've been waiting for a number 2 who's this talented to be with Dak and with CeeDee. What are we looking at now on this Cowboys team?
Guys, thinking about what he did last year, again, setting the stage, started off with Justin Fields. Russell Wilson came in, right? There's a lot of different things going on in that receiver room because they didn't have a true number 2. Roman Wilson goes down. Calvin Austin needs to step up. There's a lot of players shifting around. They have 2 backs in Najee Harris, Jalen Warren. Guys, it was a mess. It really was a mess. And he was the only shining bright star. Yeah, I know Calvin Austin kind of came through and things like that. And sure, Najee did okay. And obviously we saw Justin Fields perform decently enough to get a 2-year contract with the Jets. And obviously we know Russell Wilson is gone and he's at the Giants. So for me, man, looking at what he did, 103 targets, 59 receptions, 900 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. I want to pause on that. Guys, when at the Steelers and you have 3 receiving touchdowns on 59 receptions, knowing his talent and his ability, that's terrible. Like, we're talking he should be in the 6, 7, 8 at minimum mark from a touchdown perspective, which means that they were missing him desperately in the red zone, whether that be Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. So then we look at the ADOT, right? Average depth of target. We just talked about Davante Adams and how his was really solid for an aging kind of player at 7.5. Guys, George Pickens was 8.7. 8.7 yards per target of depth of target. That is incredible. And it just shows, right? You have 59 receptions, 900 yards receiving. He's a downfield threat. And so now let's bring it to where he is today. Guys, he's sitting at receiver 29 and his ADP is 61. I'm salivating personally, John. So when you're talking about what the hell do we do? How do we look at George Pickens here? I'm willing to take the risk. And here's why. His average depth of target is exactly what Dallas needs. They need a true downfield threat. CeeDee Lamb is the guy that's going to do everything at all times. So he could be downfield. He's going to do medium routes. He's going to be able to hit those post corners. He's going to be able to hit the mesh routes, the slants, the bubbles, but they are always double teaming him. And so they had troubles getting into open field. And then the reality is, John, for CeeDee Lamb, his utilization was so much, he got hurt. And so now CeeDee Lamb can just play as a true number one without the overzealousness of the craziness of having to move him constantly. And now you have George Pickens there. So if they're double teaming CD, guess who's going to be one-on-one matchup? And I'm throwing it up to him every time. By the way, they have a quarterback now that can do that. If Dak comes back and is even half of what he is, John, he's still better than what Russell Wilson was. And so for me, when you pair that tandem with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, which arguably, we're going to talk about this. Is that a top five? Is that a top five duo? Is that a top five receiver tandem in the NFL at this point in time? Could be. Very well could be. So when you pair those two together in this type of offense, knowing that they don't have any type of shoe-in of a running game, John, this could be a high-flying offense, and George Pickens could certainly benefit from this.
Yeah, you talked about the running game. You've got Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. I mean, the fact that these guys didn't draft one of these amazing running backs in this rookie class blew me away, to be perfectly honest.
They got Jaden Blue, but to your point, like that was what, 5th round, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's not a guy that's going to scare me. I mean, I think he'll get playing time just because you got Javonte and Miles Sanders in front of him. Mm-hmm. But this is not going to be a run-first team, is my point.
Right.
With the receivers, you got CeeDee Lamb. He had 152 targets last year.
That's crazy.
That's massive, yeah. But as far as the number 2, it's George Pickens without a doubt. The only guys behind him are Kevontae Turpin, Jonathan Mingo, Jalen Tolbert. These guys aren't beating Pickens off the field. No. He's going to be on the field here. But this is another situation. You're right. Is that I think this could potentially be a top 5 receiver duo in the league. We've not seen a guy with this kind of talent opposite of CeeDee Lamb ever. Ever. I'm really interested in this, man. And when you look at kind of where he's going around, he's going in that, 5th round area. You're looking at guys, it's that Travis Hunter, Tet McMillan, 2 rookies right around where he is.
That's interesting, though.
That's interesting. And then you've got Calvin Ridley right around there, too. So these are the guys, Chris Olave, Chris Godwin, these are the guys you're going to be looking at right around the George Pickens area. And I put George Pickens and Calvin Ridley really at the top of that tier for me. Because I just think they're going to get much, much more volume. Now, you could take a look at Travis Hunter or Tet McMillan on there, but, that's a scary thought too, man. I mean,
super scary.
Pickens, we've seen that he can be a number 1 receiver. I mean, he can, deliver for your fantasy team. I see him being really kind of a low-end number 2 receiver on your team. I think he could be very solid, and I think he could provide some boner weeks for you too. There will be games where he scores multiple times or takes 2 deep ones down the sideline. And the CeeDee Lamb's going to function more in the slot.
Yeah.
And that's really where he just kind of lines up most of the time. And when you've got a downfield threat like this on the outside in George Pickens, I think it gives CeeDee Lamb tons of room to just play around the middle of the field while Pickens takes that safety out for him, One mistake on that, Pickens is gone. We've seen
Done.
that. So, yeah, I love him. I think he's a great value where he is now. And I think he'd be a great wide receiver 2 or a flex for you on your team. So
John, question on this. So you brought up Travis Hunter, you brought up T-Mac, right? Both rookies, both. One stepping in for sure, surefire number one on the team. Second one, Travis Hunter, is certainly stepping in as 1B, probably, maybe number 2 there. Where would you go? Let's say, because people are starting to draft, they're starting to mock. They want to really hone in on this. For your receiver 2 option, would you rather have the higher floor of George Pickens, or would you rather have a higher potential reward for one of these other guys that could be the number 1 receiver on their potential team?
I'm not so sure that George Pickens has the highest floor of these guys, to be perfectly honest.
Interesting. Okay.
I think he's the ceiling play. I really do. Yeah, his floor could be in the basement. His floor could be bad. We've seen Dallas be inconsistent in the passing game. Maybe this helps, but they've got some other options there with CeeDee Lamb, with Turd Ferguson. They've got some options there. I would take Tet McMillan over George Pickens, and it's merely volume. I think the amount of volume that T-Mac's going to get in Carolina is going to be absurd. We saw the kind of volume that the old man Adam Thielen was getting out of there.
White lightning, baby.
Yeah, you throw this young buck out there, man, I just think his volume is going to be insane. So he's going to get many, many more targets than George Pickens. Travis Hunter's really kind of in the same position. You've got a stud number 1 receiver on the team, and you're coming in as a number 2. Yeah, but, with Travis Hunter, I see him more, he was way better in the screen game. He would take screens to the house. His ADOT was absolutely terrible in college because most of it was the screen game, or it was broken plays and hitting him out in the flats or down the sideline after a broken play. That's not where George Pickens lives. George Pickens is going to be that deep ADOT
true
guy.
50-50 guy.
Yeah, he's a 50-50 ball guy, which he does really, really well. But a lot of luck has to come into play there. I think that the targets are much safer and more guaranteed for Travis Hunter. So for that aspect, I would take the higher floor with Travis Hunter, but I'm going to take the higher ceiling, though, with George Pickens. So it really depends on the way you're constructing your team.
True.
If you need that safety, with the high floor, maybe look at Travis Hunter because he still has that upside as well. But George Pickens, I see all upside, basically.
Like it.
Yeah, it's a swing for the fence, man, and we like to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's move on to the next guy here. Staying in the NFC, we've got Deebo Samuel. Deebo! What you got on my 40, homie? All right, Deebo Samuel leaving the 49ers, signing with the Washington Commanders. Traded for a 5th-round pick. 1 year, $17 million, fully guaranteed contract. All right, so good contract here, 1 year. So we'll see what they're going to end up doing here. Last year, he finished as wide receiver 44. All right, Frankie, what do we do with Deebo Samuel? He's no longer with Shanahan. I'm not sure how to even analyze Deebo Samuel at this point. Bringing him on with Jaden Daniels. What are we looking at here, man? What do you think?
This is going to be wild. And guys, this is going to be an ever-evolving situation. You have to stay up to date with what's going on with the Commanders. And I'll tell you why. So we'll dive into what Deebo did last year, but with the Commanders, just calling this out before I forget, we still have Scary Terry, who also has not been extended. So there are rumors that Scary Terry might be on the outs. And if that's the case, teams are going to line up to sign him. Trust me when I say that. Trade for him, sign him, extend him, etc. So that's why I'm saying the Washington Commanders are going to be a very fascinating team this offseason, and we got to stay in tune with what's going on. But what did Deebo do last year, right? 49ers, he's been a perennial stud, except for this past year. 81 targets, 51 receptions, 670 receiving yards. He did have 3 receiving touchdowns, but then we're so used to him like pairing everything with the rushing attack and being kind of that bully that's that hybrid H-back role. Guys, he only had 136 rushing yards and 1 touchdown this year. Now, his ADOT was pretty solid. He had a more than pretty solid. It was good. It was an 8.3 average depth of target. But the problem was, he couldn't stay on the field. He was really hurt for a majority of the season. And so that affected a lot of different things, man. So, okay, how do we look at him now? Well, he's sitting at receiver 41. His ADP is 89. So think about it in 10-man leagues. That is back half of a round 8, early round 9. John, for me, I'm taking that all damn day and twice on Sunday. For me, the upside is so big for Deebo Samuel at that particular ADP that if he truly does drop to that 9th round and you can get him at receiver 4 for you, guys, there's a lot of value there, right? Sure, he could get hurt. Sure, he could get banged up. But John, you mentioned it. He signed a 1 year, $17 million, fully guaranteed, a 1 year. This is a prove-it year for him. So he's out there grinding. There was actually videos with him with Xavier Leggett running as fast as he could, man, on this crazy-ass treadmill. And, we saw videos of him and people were joking around like, dude put on a couple pounds, man. Is that James Harden out there? You know what I mean? But the reality is, right, he has all these different things. And so he looks decent. So my thing is, he's coming to Washington. He's got one hell of a quarterback throwing him the ball. We got to give credit where credit's due. Jaden Daniels looking fabulous. He has Scary Terry as it stands today. And they also have Jahan Dotson, right? So they do have a couple big guys, big name guys that are around him. Now, the other thing is they still have Austin Eckler and they still have Brian Robinson. And what that tells me is their running attack is going to be still pretty damn solid, including Jaden Daniels. So this could certainly open up opportunity for Deebo Samuel. So, man, when I'm thinking of a Cliff Kingsbury type of offense, I'm thinking Deebo has the opportunity to thrive. I think it's going to be interesting to see, though, like level setting expectation. It's going to be interesting to see how the targets are delineated. Like how many are going to be going to Scary Terry? How many are going to be going to then for Deebo? How many is going to be going to some of the tight ends that we've saw play a huge part in their success with Zach Ertz and Ben Sinnott and a few of these other guys. But when you look at bringing it full circle, when you look at where his ADP is, John, I'm going after the guy. And he's absolutely on my board.
I've evolved just listening to you, actually, Frank. Because he was pretty much off my board. There's just too many questions. He's not a pure receiver. The way Kyle Shanahan used him, is that how he's going to be used in Washington? I don't know. I just nervous about that. I look at the guys that are around him and I say, you know what? I'm punting on Deebo. I'm going to go a different direction. But as you're saying that, I mean, when you're looking at a round 8 and round 9 guy, what do you really have to lose here?
Exactly.
And I'm looking at their depth chart. You mentioned Dotson. He's gone. The third receiver is Noah Brown.
Brown, that's right.
Noah Brown, Michael Osborne, KJ Osborne, Michael Gallup. None of these guys scare me.
Dotson's on the Eagles, if I remember correctly. That's right.
Yeah. When you're paying a guy $17 million guaranteed, he's going to be on the fucking field. He's going to get the ball. He's going to do some of these jet sweeps. He's going to do some rushing. I don't know how much of that's going to be there, but he's going to have targets coming from a very pass-happy quarterback with Jaden Daniels. So I agree. I don't think at round 8, 9, 10, what do you have to lose here? This is a proven guy who can do it. I'd rather take that as depth in my receiver room as my 4th or 5th receiver than a guy that hasn't proven it at all. Now, what I will probably do after I draft Deebo Samuel as that depth piece, then I take a flyer on a guy that has the huge ceiling.
Huge ceiling.
I don't think Deebo has a huge ceiling. I think it's limited. I think it can be very productive for you for sure. But I think his ceiling's limited. So then I will take one of those absolute ceiling shots, afterwards. But yeah, I mean, you really talked me into looking at Deebo just because of the sheer value and the fact that, you're not going to have to roll this guy out. You can do it in the right situations. So love it, man. All right, let's move forward here. Keep going in the NFC. We've got Cooper Kupp. All right, we just talked a little bit about him.
Ooh.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp leaving the Rams, now with the Seattle Seahawks. So now kind of playing that role of Tyler Lockett a little bit with the Seattle Seahawks. Signed a 3-year, $45 million deal, includes $17 million guaranteed. Okay, this is not a contract that says to me, all right, let's see if this guy's got any juice left. Let's see if he's got a year he can give it. It's not a Deebo Samuel contract.
No.
This is somebody they expect to produce, right away. So talk to me a little bit about Cooper Kupp, man. What are we doing with this guy? He's won the Triple Crown, for Christ's sake. What are we going to do?
Triple Crown. I'm salivating. I am salivating over Cooper Kupp. I don't know why there's not more hype on this, John. I mean, guys, looking at what he did in 12 games last year, 100 targets, 67 receptions, 710 receiving yards, and 6 touchdowns. ADOT was 7.1. We know that that's going to be short because that is just where Cooper Kupp lives, in that medium and short realm. And that he's not really the big boom play kind of guy. He's going to eat you up every step of the way down the field. And here's what is mind blowing, John. He is listed at receiver 42 and an ADP of 93. Okay, let's take a step back. Let's evaluate what's going on with Seattle here, because I must be missing something, right? Cooper Kupp is now paired with Sam Darnold. Okay? Not the greatest. But let's just say that Sam Darnold is 2/3 of what he was last year. By the way, fun fact, guys, we'll discuss Sam Darnold, but he finished at quarterback 8. Quarterback 8? So you're telling me then that was with JJ, you're telling me that was with Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and now he's walking in with JSN and Cooper Kupp? I mean, even if he's a quarterback 15, man, I mean, Cooper Kupp's still going to get his. And then you look at, okay, what's going on here? Well, Lockett's gone. He's with the Titans. DK's gone. He's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then we look at, okay, it's JSN, and then it's Cooper Kupp. Dude, there's no way in hell that if Cooper Kupp stays healthy, that he is going to be above 35, or receiver 35 or higher. There's no way. I mean, dude, I see Cooper Kupp cracking the top 20, top 25 if he's healthy and he ends up staying in sync with that of Sam Darnold. So for me, man, I am salivating over this guy's, again, ADP of 93 in a 10-man league. That's middle of the 9th round. Middle of the 9th round for Cooper Kupp is your receiver 4 or 5. Dude, sign me up every damn day. I'm locking this dude up. I don't care if he gets hurt because there's no risk. There's no risk whatsoever. Guys, he should be on everybody's board. You can probably even reach a round or two higher to get him and still net value. That's how high I am on Cooper Kupp this year.
This ADP is going to change.
It's going to change.
This is July, guys. We're doing these early episodes for you to get ready for the draft, but you got to pay attention. There's no way in hell Cooper Kupp is going to stay as a 9th round pick. The guy was a 1st round pick 2 years ago. I mean, it's just not going to change, okay? Or it's not going to stay right where it is. And I mean, you look at the team, JSN. I'm super excited about JSN this year.
Super excited.
Amazingly talented receiver, young. He's got the reins now. He's going to be the one, likely. I think Cooper Kupp's going to be the one on this team. I don't think JSN, he's kind of a Jaden Reed type receiver to where he's an excellent receiver and he's going to get his. Yes. But he's not an alpha. He's not a guy that a veteran quarterback is going to look to immediately when he's in trouble. He's going to go to Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is that guy. He'll play in the slot a lot as well. He's going to do a lot of screens. He's going to do a lot of fancy shit. He knows how to read zone defenses and find those holes. He is going to be a gift to Sam Darnold, just like he was a gift to Matt Stafford. So I don't understand why he's so low. I don't get it. I think it's just because he's older. They didn't pay him, like I said, a 3-year, $36 million contract to come in for 1 year and help develop their young receiver who's going to be the future. No, man, this guy's here to win games now. So I don't think how you can, everybody should go into their queue right now and put Cooper Kupp in there
100%.
Because around 8, 9, 10 rolls around and Cooper Kupp's still there. Put him on your damn team. What are you thinking?
It's not even a question. And guys, here's the other thing.
Not.
John, there's a lot of talk right now that Kenneth Walker this is his year. If he stays healthy, this is his year. Then you look at Zach Charbonnet. Guys, they have a stable of top tier running backs right now. And then so that what that means is they can't be the box will not be stacked. Like the cornerbacks, the nickels are gonna have to be able to key in on their defensive assignments for the run game as well. Guys, this is perfect storm. If they execute properly, this is a perfect storm for Cooper Kupp and JSN. So, man, I just think that this is way being overlooked. To your point, get his ass in the queue right now and enjoy, baby, because I see a big year coming.
And the only other competition you've got in the receiver room is MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. And we know what MVS does. He's running cardio, baby.
Yeah. Here's MVS. Yeah. The entire time down the field.
That's exactly right. He's just going to take one guy off the field and away from Cooper Kupp and JSN. And that's it. I mean, that's what he does. We know that. So I just think it opens things up really, really big for Cooper Kupp, man. I think he's being slept on and disrespected. I
agree.
Draft him, man, immediately. All right, let's keep moving on here. Staying in the NFC, we're going to get to our buddy Brandon Cooks. All right, this is a guy we haven't talked about much, Frankie. It's been a little while. All right, let's see if we can look at him as a fantasy value option here. Brandon Cooks signed a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Saints, who are desperate for receiving options right now. Yeah. Frankie talked to us. He finished at wide receiver 96. He only played 10 games.
Yeah.
Nothing that you're really going to write home about. Do we see any value with him in New Orleans this year?
Guys, yes, and it's solely because of the injury history from the other receivers for New Orleans. When you look at what he did, Johnny had 54 targets, 26 receptions, 259 yards receiving, and 3 touchdowns. The interesting thing, though, is most of that occurred towards the end of the season. And so, like, he really kind of came on, which was a solid-ish option across the CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb went down, and then it was just abysmal from that point. But what was fascinating, man, was his ADOT. It's still insanely strong. It's a 9.96, guys. Average depth of target, almost 10 yards. That means Brandon Cooks is absolutely still a deep threat. Here's the issue, right? And I'll just say it. Well, he's receiver 86 right now. His ADP is 245, guys. You can get him at the back of the draft. He might even go undrafted in a lot of leagues. Probably will. But here's the thing. Saints quarterback is a rookie. They have Chris Olave, right, who has been banged up. There's been a lot of rumors that they might trade him, try to stack more picks. You have Rashid Shaheed there, who, again, season-ending injury last year, so he's coming back. And so there's not a lot of great options. Sure, they have Kamara, still there and things along those lines. Taysom Hill, again, he's trying to make his way back after a brutal injury last year. So for me, man, looking at this, there is some value for a high flyer towards the end that just as a depth piece. But man, this Saints offense is going to be really weird in the beginning because it's Tyler Shugg's job right now. And then you have Spencer Rattler because remember, Derek Carr actually retired, guys. Like he's not there anymore. So it's truly a rookie or a first year or second year guy in Spencer Rattler. So for me, man, it's going to take an injury for him to be super relevant. This is a depth piece in deep leagues that could provide something towards middle end of season, but I'm not really putting my stake in Brandon Cooks. You know what I mean? It's just the team dynamic around him isn't good enough for me to get that excited.
Yeah, I think he's just there to give depth to their receiver room.
Yeah.
Like I would draft him in a best ball scenario because he will get some bombs down the sideline. But I just don't see him as being any different than Rashid Shaheed. I think they're the same player, and Rashid Shaheed is years younger than he is.
Yeah, big time.
And flashed big time last year, before he got hurt. So, yeah, this is a guy that I'm not going to draft him. I'm going to look at, he's a guy I'll keep an eye on waivers to see if there are any injuries because you do have Olave and Rashid that both were banged up last year, and we just don't know what's going to happen there. I think this team will be down, which will be good for fantasy because they will have to come back. So you may not see some brilliant football out of this offense, but you're going to see a quarterback having to throw the ball to come back into games, is what I think. So that could provide some value, but I'm not jumping all over Brandon Cooks.
John, random question. For the Saints in general, like where does it sit with you, man? I mean, thinking about like obviously Alvin Kamara, 100% that's a guy you're taking. But when you look at the rest of the offense, I mean, are you even considering Olave? Is he on your board? Like, where's Rashid Shaheed? Because the dude was fabulous until he got hurt, but everything was based on 1 or 2, 3 maybe deep catches, and that was the entirety of what Rashid Shaheed. Like, in your perspective, knowing where a lot of people are doing mocks, knowing like people are evaluating teams, trying to figure out where to draft certain guys. Like, dude, is there value really outside of Alvin Kamara on this team, knowing that a rookie's throwing them the ball?
They're really dart throws is what they are. I'm not targeting these guys. Rashid Shaheed, you're looking at right around the same draft spot as Michael Pittman Jr., Brandon Cooks, Brandon Ayuk, Keon Coleman, Rashad Bateman. I think he's more of a comp to Rashad Bateman. It's more of a difficult, choice for me.
Like
Rashid
that.
Shaheed and Rashad Bateman are very similar guys in my mind in fantasy, but I'm taking Pittman, I'm taking Kupp, I'm taking Ayuk.
Definitely.
I'm taking these guys over.
What about
Rashid
Olave?
Shaheed. Olave, let's see, he's right around the area of Chris Godwin, Jalen Waddle. After Olave, you've got Travis Hunter, Tet, and George Pickens that we had just talked about, and Calvin Ridley.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking Calvin Ridley and Tet McMillan over Olave just because I think their targets are going to be fantastic. They are the number ones on the team. Now, it gets George Pickens, Travis Hunter, Jalen Waddle. It gets more into that territory. Now, I'll put Olave ahead of those guys if I know he's healthy.
Yeah.
If I know he's completely healthy. You got to see a little bit of camp. You got to see a little preseason. If I know he's looking good and feeling good and the team feels good about him, I'll put him ahead of those guys because he is going to be the target monster if he's healthy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And what this tells me, man, is this is Kamara's show. Like for me, this moves. I know it's crazy because we're talking receivers, but as we're kind of like talking through this, dude, I mean, Kamara's moving up my board the more we're talking because it's going to be his
receptions.
Yeah, exactly.
Receptions.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move forward here. We're keeping in the NFC. Last guy here, we've got Demarcus Robinson. Signed a 2-year, $9.5 million deal with San Francisco. Finished as the wide receiver 58 last year. Frankie, what kind of sneaky value you think this guy might have on this 49ers team that has seen some wide receivers go?
Guys, I think there's definitely some sneaky value here, and I know it's crazy. I'm not going to overblow this, right? He's finished, as you mentioned, receiver 58. What did he do last year? He's 64 targets, 31 receptions, 505 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. He was a touchdown monster, man. When you think about what George Pickens did with 3 and many others that had quite a few less, dare I say, he had the same amount of touchdowns as Malik Neighbors. Put that into perspective. And so when you kind of start putting it in that sense, it's like, And you look at where he's sitting, he's receiver 128, and his ADP he's undrafted. Let's just put it like that. It's 327, right? So you can get him as your last pick. John, going to the 49ers where they don't have Deebo, they're not going to have Brandon Ayuk to start the year. They have a guy Ricky Pearsall, who sure looked good, but do we really know how Ricky Pearsall, who is he really? Like, is he McConkey? Or is he a poor man's McConkey, which changes quite a bit? And then you have Juwan Jennings and George Kittle. For me, man, there's something here. And it's a weird thing because I don't know if these receivers are going to stay healthy because we've seen that they haven't been able to for the 49ers.
They're all hurt right now, Frankie.
Exactly.
I'm looking at the depth chart. Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall. Those are the 3 starting receivers. They're all questionable at the moment.
All banged up.
Yeah.
And then you paid Brock Purdy, and then you have George Kittle, and then you have CMC coming back. Guys, I think that, and I'll say this, I think this is a bit of a, maybe not a hot take, but kind of, I'm taking him over Brandon Cooks. I'm going to take a flyer like this knowing it's a last pick of the draft. Guys, he proved it last year. I mean, receiver 58, there's good trade value in the sense of if you're doing a package deal, if you're doing a 3-for-1 and he's that third additional piece, that could be something interesting to other players. So think about how you can package in some of these other guys that might have some super high reward on a few weeks that you can get really late that then could be built into a trade package down the road. So for me, man, again, I'm not overblowing it. This is a guy that's absolutely going to be a last pick, probably going to go undrafted for a lot of people, but is definitely somebody that has caught my eye based on the situation at San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, it's don't draft this guy, but pay attention to his name. Because if those receivers, they're all super young as well. He would be the veteran presence on the team.
Yep.
Because we know the team's going to go through George Kittle and CMC. Those are going to be the number 1 and 2 targeted guys on the team. They just are, full season long. But Demarcus Robinson could bring some veteran presence to this team and give Brock Purdy a little bit of just confidence out there that he knows he's got a guy he can hit. So somebody to pay attention to, absolutely. All right, Frank, any honorable mentions? There's a bunch of guys that are moving, but there's not a lot of, there's still some guys we're waiting on. Who are we still waiting on that haven't signed yet?
Guys, there's 3 big ones that have not signed yet. And it is absolutely Gabe Davis, not in order, but Gabe Davis, Amari Cooper, and Keenan Allen. We have to wait and see what's going to unfold with these guys because they haven't signed yet. And there's a big market right now for these types of players. All 3, all different facets. But there's certainly something going to drop. They will absolutely be on a team come start of the year. And so, John, when we also look at the NFC for some of the honorable mentions, a few key callouts. You mentioned MVS. Yep, he's all in Seattle. He's going to be doing some cardio out there. We got KJ Osborne that's now in Washington, which is interesting because Noah Brown's a little bit banged up right now. Could we see KJ Osborne do anything from what he did from the Vikings and bring that to Washington? Right? That could be really interesting, especially if Scary Terry ends up moving on. Right? So you got to stay in touch with that. We have Paris Campbell. Shout out St. V. Let's go. Buckeye, Buck Nuts. He's going over to Dallas to help with some of that depth chart. Mecole Hardman going to Green Bay, John. We got Michael Gallup as well with Washington. And to round it out, we got Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow back in the NFL going to the Carolina Panthers. He could also be kind of interesting.
Yeah, he'll be playing the role of the old-ass Adam Thielen, I think,
That's
on
right.
that offense. So, yeah. All right, sounds good, guys. That is part one of our wide receiver, new faces in new places. Stay tuned. Coming out very soon. You're going to see part two. We're going to do the AFC receivers. We got about half a dozen of those as well. So, good guys we're going to be talking about. Frankie, what other things we have coming up? There might be something rhymes maybe with schmaft.
Oh, yes, of course. We're going to be doing a lot of schmafting. We have mock drafts coming out, getting you ready for different strategies, showing you guys different types of drafts as a whole, whether it's full PPR, 10-man, super flex, 14-man league, half PPR, 3-receiver league, which is always one of my favorites, and I always get shit talked. And by the way, I have back-to-back Super Bowls, so kiss my ass. So by the way, that is coming down the line. And don't forget, we're also going to dive into some of the new faces and new places from quarterbacks, running backs, and tight end. That way you know where these players are, what's going on at their new place, where they're at today, the team dynamic, and how do we think they're going to perform for your particular fantasy teams.
Yeah, guys, leave some comments of what kind of mock drafts you want to see us do. We absolutely will do that. We're going to do once a week mock drafts until the draft. So those are our favorite to do. It's so much fun, I think it gives so much value. Not only are we drafting the players, we're giving you a little insight of what's going on in our heads and why we're making the decisions we do. So leave a comment. Let us know. Do you want a super flex? Do you want double flex? Do you want, let us know. We'll do some strategies as well. Hero RB, zero RB, taking wide receivers like crazy, taking an early quarterback, what that looks like.
Yes.
Not something we typically do, but it's good to see what that looks like. Maybe you'll like the team, maybe you won't. Let us know what you want, guys. If you like what we're putting out here, guys, please subscribe, like, share the podcast. Share it with other people. We appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you soon. May the fantasy gods smile upon you. Bye.